I'm Elsie Kerry. Join me on Sundays at 8 p.m. for African Drums.
Good evening. Welcome to African Drums. I'm Elsie Harry. Thank you for joining me this evening. As Guyana prepares for local government election on March 18th, we are seeing more and more campaigns being mounted in each constituency. Aside from the usual political party affiliates, we are also seeing more young, fresh faces with the mission of empowering youth for a better Guyana. One of the issues that we hope these candidates will address is youth and entrepreneurship. In an age where resources are scarce and many youth in Guyana have lost hope to the point of committing suicide, we, the members of the Cuffy250 committee, think that empowering youth is especially important for their survival and happiness. The young lady I'm going to be speaking with this evening is not a candidate for local government election, but she is an exceptional example of youth making a big impact in Guyana. Kerry Woolford is a professionally trained makeup artist and the sole owner and proprietor of the company ILIKE-MAKEUP by Kerry. She is multifaceted, and she just waved. She is multifaceted, as you will soon learn, and the most fitting guest for this evening's show on youth and entrepreneurship. Kerry, welcome to African Drums.
Hello! Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
You can see my energy still up. I was just at Steel Pan competition, Panorama.
Okay, and I see your face is all done, so
Yes.
I know you did this yourself.
Of course. Who else is going to do it?
Okay, so I want the audience to get to know you. Tell me about yourself and how you got into the art of makeup.
Well, I don't know where to begin because it started with art, of course. I started doing art since I can remember. I was always a good art student and I always got A's and B's. You know, not even trying to impress anyone right now, just how it was. But yeah, since as long as I can remember, I actually did art, studied art up to fourth form, CXC level. And then I got into theater arts when I moved to New York, when I finished high school in New York. And then in college as well, I did theater arts again. So art was a big deal. But it wasn't until after I became a Mary Kay consultant, then I started using makeup more often because I was sort of like you. I never liked makeup, wearing makeup or too much of makeup. So when I discovered that makeup could be art as well, that's when now I'm a member of, IMATS, International Makeup Artists, Worldwide and all that. Yes, so it's sort of a big deal for me right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me about the process of qualifying yourself to become a professional makeup artist.
I always tell people, if you want to become a makeup artist, the best thing to do is be an artist first. Makeup is just, another medium for art. Because I can paint on canvas, I can do oil painting, I can do drawing. However, makeup, because I can do that and because I learned at such an early age, I was able to transition very easily into the world of makeup and makeup artistry. So, qualifications, I've been studying it since, 20 years of art studying and drawing.
Yeah.
Probably that's my qualifications when it comes down to it.
Okay, so
I did study performing arts as well,
Okay.
so it's important to know. I think probably applying it, I learned through the company. Mary Kay trains you a lot. You don't get like a certificate saying, hey, you took this training, but the company does give you a lot of training. And it's up to you to take advantage of it. Not every Mary Kay consultant can be a makeup artist because that's not only what the company is about. So I guess that, and I used to do dance as well. So we had to apply our own makeup. So that's one of the reasons.
So at
why.
every aspect there was some
Exactly,
training.
there was some training in my life. So I never really had to go to the makeup school or anything.
Okay. Yeah. So how did you transfer this love and this passion for makeup and art into a company?
That is a very good question. That is how, I can't tell you how, because it just became like the next step. Turning my talent into a business was just the next thing to do. Employing people, that's just, another step from what it started as, with just me being an independent beauty consultant and, selling Mary Kay makeup, then having to apply it because I sell it, and then I had to, learn more about makeup because I was getting so many questions about makeup, and, it just stemmed from one thing to the other. And as people start to ask me more to apply their makeup because they would see my makeup being done, and they're like, "Oh my God, your makeup is done so well. Can you do mine?" I'm like, "Yeah, I charge this."
So you embraced
and I just I embraced it, and it just it built from one thing to the next to the next. That's one of the reasons I moved. I ended up living in Guyana as well, because it's just that it was the demand more than the supply, so to speak, in business terms.
Okay. So did you have a strong family structure growing up? And even now, does your family support your makeup artistry?
Yes, they do. However, it came with a fight. It had its challenges. They were like, "No, why are you doing this? You could do so many other things in your life." I'm like, "Okay, let's see where this goes." But I do get a lot of support. I came, like I said, I started doing art from an early age, and I don't think I would have done that without my parents. I mean, a 5-year-old doesn't get up and say, "Let me go to dance school today," It's definitely, my parents they encourage creativity and design and art,
Okay, since you decided to become a makeup artist, were there challenges that you faced?
Of course. Where do I begin? The challenges were very much, as a young anything, I found, because I started doing Mary Kay when I was 19, and selling anti-aging products to people who are 30-something and 50-something, and you're 19, and you're like, "Yes, I use these products myself," and they're like, "You're young, you have no wrinkles, you have, So a lot of people think that you have little to no knowledge of what you're doing, or excuse me, that you just don't have an idea of how it works, or that you can be doing other things, and
Okay, and
that's one of the challenges. Another one is definitely that not so many people embrace makeup, or it's hard to be taken seriously when you're young doing a business. I think that's one of the major ones.
Okay, and I think these are some of the same challenges that other young people face in their business endeavors. So how did you overcome these challenges?
By staying focused and having faith. I think that's very important in life, that we always just stick to what we're doing and develop that attitude of always being better and always being gracious and kind to people, despite what you might feel. It's very difficult, especially for me, to make sure that you're in line and focused, and just think about your goals, think about what you want to achieve. And one of the reasons I stick with it is because I help so many people. Everyone has a question about makeup. It's very new in Guyana. I mean, 6 years ago there was no makeup artist. You know, they're very, and I moved here about 7 years ago. So, yeah, there were hardly any makeup artists, and now it's being talked about a lot more. And now we have makeup lines coming to Guyana. More people are advertising on TV. Oh, we sell makeup, to attract those makeup artists and those makeup enthusiasts as well. So, yeah.
Okay, so what do you say to those people who still don't think that being a makeup artist is a worthwhile career?
Well, I would tell them Google makeup artist. or I would tell them, it's not up to other people to decide what is a lucrative career and what isn't. There are people who are selling rubber bands and making millions of dollars doing it. It depends on the person, the drive, the willpower, and how many people are willing to invest in it and how many people are willing to buy it. It's really about, because I think computers and so on have a big impact, but it's not everyone. There are still people who can't use a phone in the world, and there are people who can't use a computer in the world, or they have no access to internet and so on. So it depends on who the person is, basically. And to you people who don't believe and have no faith, God be with you.
So tell me, Kerry, where do you see your company going in the next 10 years? What is your vision for this company?
Just, I have a saying that I adopted from the show Million Dollar Listing that I heard. It's expansion always and always. So that's basically just where I wanted to go. I'm just so satisfied with how far I've come, and the obstacles I've been able to overcome. So for me, it's just about doing more and getting bigger and better. That's basically it.
Okay, and do you see yourself...
Hopefully not in size, in life.
And do you see yourself providing employment for other young people in Guyana?
Of course, because I've already been in situations, well, not situations, but I've already had that experience where I had to employ people and hire people, even if it's for a day. So I'm willing to, make it more established. And as the country grows in population, and as we grow economically, it'll be more feasible to hire someone on a daily basis, have them working, and so on. So of course.
Okay.
I've been there, done that.
Okay. You'd have said that a lot of your qualifications and work experience would have been in the United States.
Yes.
Okay. Can you compare the two scenarios, doing makeup artistry in the U.S. and in Guyana?
Oh,
What has been the differences? What are the negatives and positives?
Well, I have learned that people are people no matter where they are in the world. Ever. There are people who are still like, oh, I don't like makeup, and all over the world you find those people. But the difference is, I think in the States, people embrace creativity a lot more than they do here. I find that in Guyana, and people also embrace being organized than in Guyana, but those are the subtle differences. For me, especially, I think being in business, so to speak, it has its challenges because very few people plan things in Guyana and are organized. But again, it's the person, and once my business is organized, people come on board, and some people are very satisfied. They're like, oh, I can pay you online, or I can book you 10 months in advance. Where do I go? How do I do this? Some people are like, oh, it's so much easier working with you, especially for weddings and so on, because it's organized. I like being organized because I'm an artist. Things can go chaotic very quickly, so it's good to have a system in place that, you can, easily communicate with people and make everyone's lives easier.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the whole science of entrepreneurship. Do you think that more young people should become entrepreneurs? Should they transfer their passions into businesses?
Not really. Business is not for everyone. If they can get people, because it was very difficult, especially financially, it's very difficult to start a business. So you have to, it helps to have some business knowledge, at least some business knowledge, or to, find people who can invest in you. Like if I had someone who invested in my business before I started doing that by myself. I mean, it's more rewarding that I get to do it by myself. However, it would have been so much easier if it was someone else taking over the business aspect of my talent. So for the idea that, transitioning your passion into business, not really, because you still have to learn the business aspects of it. However, I do support independence. I do support creating jobs. So if it is a case where, like, I didn't sit and wait for someone to hire me. I went out and did what I had to do, get hired, put my work out there, let people know what's going on, who I am, how fabulous my work is.
Okay, good. So it shouldn't be this automatic thing where you have this passion and it automatically
I would definitely
a
I would definitely encourage, just to further answer the question, I would definitely encourage being proactive. Go look for a job, and it's okay to settle for a minimum wage job because that helps your business. At the end of the day, before I became a Mary Kay consultant, I did have part-time jobs while going to school.
And that
even
money
if you
can be
exactly
fueled
that
into your
money
business.
was used to start my business. Basically, I had to have money from somewhere. I didn't just go on the street and beg. So that I do encourage. As a matter of fact, if you can, always, look for work. It's important that you do that. I think I've seen too many young people, especially in Guyana, not being proactive. Matter of fact, when I moved to the States and I was in high school, the transition was very interesting. I mean, the discipline for students in a public school in an urban community in the States is very different from public school in Guyana and in Georgetown in particular. I went to Bishop's High School before I moved to the States. And one thing I noticed was that the students over there might not be that into education as much, but they are into work. They all had, all of my friends had part-time jobs. I was so jealous. I was like, I started too late, I couldn't find a part-time job. That was like a big deal. Like I had nothing to do after school because they're either doing part-time jobs or doing after-school activities. Well, I was lucky to go to a theater arts high school, so that was after-school activities were part of the curriculum. So I think it's important that you go, because they were pretty independent, and that's the part I love about that society, is that everyone is looking to make their own money and be proactive about their own financial future.
And that is something we can learn here as well.
We can adopt that, definitely.
So
that's
in addition to promoting
exactly.
education, also promote independence
and creativity. I mean, we have to allow, students to not just become doctors and lawyers. Have them know what path, what they need to study to achieve their dreams, or even if they don't know their what they want to do, it's okay for them to dabble in everything and just focus on the things that they're good at. I'm definitely one who likes to focus more on my strengths than my weaknesses. So it's imperative that we take that attitude and roll with it.
Okay, and what role do you think the government and governments in general should play in this?
Well, I definitely believe that the government should make it easier for everyone to fulfill their dreams, and they should put more influence in education, and make sure that there's more creativity in education. Like, I've used that word 10 times already.
It's fine.
Yeah, just make sure that, you know, there's a focus on both. There's a balance in both cultural education as well as conventional scholarly education. What's the word? I don't know. What's the word I'm looking for? But some people still think that the arts and culture is not as important
As
in education. Exactly.
Educational
As
structure.
you know, there are a lot of students nowadays doing 21 CXC subjects. I just think, you know, that's ridiculous if it doesn't, especially if it doesn't include art. But yeah, I think we've kind of strayed away from that. That's what that's at least what I've noticed since moving back to Guyana. And for the people who still think that it's not important, just Google Charles Ramson. Next.
Okay.
I said it on national TV. Oh my God.
Okay, what do you think about this level of independence
Mhm.
being promoted at the community level? I know in March 18th we're going to be having local government election, and we're going to be electing councillors for the different communities.
Exactly.
What do you think about making the communities hubs for young people to enhance their creative juices and things
Well,
like that?
I think the some communities so far have done their part. Communities do have a big influence, and I think they can only do so much because this has a financial aspect to it. I think businesses need to get involved more than just the community.
Private sector.
Private sector, public sector, any sector. But yes, I do think more support needs to be given. And I don't just want to say, oh, let's encourage everybody who think they can sing, you know, to have that encouragement. But we should make talent a little bit more competitive, you know, give people a competitive, like, I like to call myself Guyana's best makeup artist, because I want to see who's the next person and be like, oh no, she's not the best, I can do that, or I can do, you know, so just to encourage that competition so you have more people in the field. And that's where it, you know, it all starts to manifest. Communities do play a very important part. I just came from Steel Pan Competition Panorama, and there are a few communities that participated. Instead of a school band, you know, the communities had more like an under 17 band. Yeah, so you had Buxton, and they just got second place in their category. And then you had another community, I think West Demerara. There was, I can't remember the other communities, but there are other communities and other organizations that are always willing to, and there are people who are always willing to support the talented. And I think more like I said, more investors need to be in it, more business investors, more money needs to be
invested
and invested in
yes,
these
and
things.
in addition to money, I think the structures, because
Yes.
I know a lot of artists are complaining that there's no copyright law to protect the work that they put out there. So I think that if we're
You
gonna
know, that
encourage-
has two sides. That's interesting that you bring that up.
Mhm.
The copyright law, it has two sides. I mean, if there's anything worth copying, Because if we, like, let's take, for example, more international artists, for example, singers like Beyonce, you know, they're very protective of their music, not just because they do their part to protect their music, and there's the law in place. The government is not going to hunt down every bootlegger, so to speak, every person looking to steal, you know, rights and music. They're not going to enforce that law. Like, the police is not going to arrest me because, oh, you just downloaded a bootleg version of a certain song. But they're not just going to hunt everyone down. I think the artists have to play a role and have to be proactive in that. And if it's also protecting the money behind it. So the businesses also spend enough to protect, you know, and their apps know that, you know, guard these things. You have to pay in order to just hear some of the music being played out there. So I think artists need to be more proactive and need to be smarter when in their approach to copyright and their music, and they need to stop just throwing everything on Facebook immediately. And, you know, if you want to do samples, go ahead, but if you want to launch an album, it's imperative that you keep that secret, and, you know, stop Facebooking studio time, and the whole song, just throwing it all over you, exactly, and the lyrics all over YouTube. So, and you have to make sure that, you know, you're not just burning it on DVDs and trying to sell to people, because one person will buy it and then the pushcart guy is going to have it down the road in 2 minutes for a lot cheaper than what you're selling. So it's, you know, nowadays there's different ways to access music, especially. I'm saying music because I think that's one of the biggest copyright infringement problems that we have here. But, you know, everyone needs to, you know, you have to work, do the work.
And this translates to other businesses as well, not just artists.
It's a lot of work being an artist. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, it was so easy, you know, even though, like, today I was going to do natural makeup. And then I was like, okay, I'll just put on some red lipstick. And then I'm going to I'm like, oh, I'm not just going to leave it the way it is. I have to line it, make it properly, fine-tune it. You know, I have to check my makeup, you know, make sure it's well blended. There are things I do to give quality, to you know, portray quality. And I think all other artists should focus on that the quality aspect. So make sure that when someone bootlegs it, there's no doubt that they're bootlegging something that's a signature version of what someone else put out there. If I sang a Lauryn Hill song, for example, everyone would already know who it was, when it was. It sounds more like her music. So these are the things you have to ensure, that you're putting out high quality work, however long it takes. Because it took me about 2 hours to do my makeup today.
Wow.
Yeah. Just cause. Yes.
Okay, so let me engage you on the serious issue that is plaguing Guyana right now: suicide. What do you think is the reason why these young people are losing hope to the point of taking their own lives?
What? Well, this is the part where I'm glad I went to college, even though I didn't want to go. But I did a bit of psychology, and I found that it didn't give, and I'm not a psychologist, but I do have a better understanding of people and why people might do the things they do. And I find that, well, it was discussed. I remember that discussion in class where they said that most people who are more likely to succeed, that's why more men are more likely to commit suicide than women. More people who are, well, not just because they're more likely to succeed, but because they're more risk takers. The people who have a better chance of survival are the ones who commit suicide just because it was a good idea at the time. And I don't know why they would do it. Some people might believe that I might live to tell the tale. It's incredible, but I wouldn't be able to say exactly what causes it, but I just know it's the people who are more proactive and they could be doing other things. I think if we tap into creativity again, and we allow people to be creative,
To express
themselves, they will be less likely to even think about suicide. I could remember growing up as a teenager, I didn't have time to think about suicide. I had a schedule. It's like school in the morning, in the afternoons, and then dance class, steel band practice. There's so many things I had going on that I didn't have the time to sit and wonder, oh my God, let's see what happens if I kill myself. Even though I had challenges like every other teenager, and I had issues I had to deal with, and life has its problems. So these are other ways. Again, creativity is another way to help people express themselves and deal with their problems, and break a plate if they need to, if they're angry, and paint if they need to do that. There are different ways to alleviate suicide. One of the most important things, I think, is the expressing of themselves, because a lot of people don't listen to the suicide victims, the ones who end up victims to that.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you think about makeup and the impact that it has on somebody's self-esteem, suicide, things like that? For example,
well, that's one of the reasons I'm a makeup artist. I mean, the amount of women especially that tell me about their issues, or sometimes there are people who have never applied makeup or have never done business with, but I do listen to them on the phone. They might call and they might express what troubles they're having and so on, and they try to use makeup as a medium, or they're interested in makeup as a medium to help deal with whatever issues they have in life. But it definitely does boost self-esteem. I mean, half of the reason why it took me 2 hours to do my makeup is because I was just looking at myself and smiling. Because, I looked not only pretty, because I was born pretty, but I felt like I accomplished something. This is the look I wanted to go for. Oh, my winged eyeliner came out perfect. Several things like that can, boost your self-esteem. So definitely makeup does have a big impact. And I don't think it's because people feel ugly without it, but I do feel that it's just the fact that you get to be creative and express yourself and accomplish, what you set out to achieve.
Okay,
even if it's in a small way.
What about those people who think that applying makeup means covering up some flaw that you don't want the world to see?
Well, I am a big decipher on not covering flaws. I don't like to use concealer when I'm doing makeup, but that's because I use really good foundation. So you don't even have to use concealer after that, but it depends on, I've had so many cases where I've had a client ask me to remove a scar. Now, I didn't think it was that serious to remove, or it was just a little somewhere around the face they had a little minor scar, and they wanted it removed. Like, they wanted it to be covered up, and I'm like, why? That's your that's you. That's what makes the person. So I definitely am not a decipher. But at the end of the day, it's personal preference, it's style, it's their choice. If they want to wear heavy drag queen makeup, go right ahead. Who am I to say don't do that? Again, it's about you and it's about expressing yourself. But I'm a decipher on subtle makeup. I don't like to cover up a lot. And if you take care of your skin, you won't have to cover anything up. You just have to wear light sheer foundation. If you read my article, my column in Chronicle, you can find that too. I give tips on that. Yeah.
Okay, so what impact has your company had in Guyana since you've started?
What I've seen is a lot of people being a little bit more brave on the entrepreneurship side. I find that everyone's a makeup artist now. Everyone's a designer now. Everyone's a this, that, and the third, and they're proudly declaring, I think now people are comfortable with the fact that it's okay to have a little niche and express themselves and create something, even if it's small scale. We like to believe that we need to start this grand big business, and it needs to be in the biggest building on Regent Street or something. Now everyone's okay to say, I work at home, I started a business in my room, and so forth. So that I found, and I see a lot of people as well embracing makeup more. That part I love. We should all get our pretty on every day.
And what about self-esteem? Have you seen a lot of people,
of course,
with increased self-esteem, increased self-love?
Yes, because even people who wear bad makeup, I've seen on the road, they think they look fabulous. People are putting on lashes heavily. Everyone has something to say now. No one's afraid to speak up. It's just, I see more energy and more life. Everyone moving with a little bit more alacrity and oomph.
And I think that's good, because
yes,
even for the issue of suicide, if
yes,
you have people that love themselves.
If people first love them, I think that you have to first love yourself before you can easily express love to everyone else, and be kind to everyone else. Don't be too cruel or too hard on yourself. You weren't born perfect. Give yourself some time to become perfect. I wake up every day and tell myself I'm perfect, and I know that's not the case. And to some people I'm not perfect, but to me, I'm perfect.
And I think that's good. And I think the makeup artistry that you're promoting is good for loving yourself, not covering up what things that you think that are wrong with you. But just taking pride in. If your eyes that you really love your eyes, then accentuate your eyes so more people can see how pretty your eyes are.
Exactly. Definitely. If you have a big nose, make it bigger.
Okay, as we approach local government election on March 18th, are there any specific policies that you are looking out for as a young voter? It could be in the area of the arts, entrepreneurship. What policies are you looking at?
A cleaner Guyana, a cleaner Georgetown. I think it's about time we are a little bit more proactive with keeping our city clean. And I think people need to know the laws on how to be a better citizen. There are too many Guyanese who aren't au fait with how things work in Guyana, or they believe that things work in a chaotic manner, like it's okay to throw garbage or decide like that. I'm not fond of. It doesn't make the city look pretty. I think the city needs a makeover. We're getting there, but it needs to be more in the smaller communities as well as in the more public areas of Georgetown.
Okay. Are you looking for policies on arts in schools, communities, things like that as well?
Yes, definitely more art in school, all schools, and culture, and yeah, that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. If we can get the community mobilized with culture and arts, but they're community schools as well, so I guess that's one way of doing that, being able to influence the youth and empower them for a brighter tomorrow.
Okay. Do you have any entrepreneurship advice for young business owners, these are people who already have their businesses and they're feeling overwhelmed or they're wondering what's the next step. Do you have any advice for them? And this is personal advice, not expert advice, but you as a young business owner to another young business owner.
Take your time, sip your coffee or your tea. Don't try to make $1 million in a minute. It takes time to develop your business. I mean, it's better if you can make $1 million in a minute, but however, always expand and always look towards the future, set goals. I think it works if we stay focused, even if we lose track along the way. It's always easy to recuperate and get back to business. It's just keep working. I mean, if anyone in business would know, it's definitely not a 9 to 5. You don't have a set time. It's from when I get up and start working to when I go to sleep and I'm done working. That's basically how I found business to be. So it's imperative that you just stay focused and keep moving and always look to go bigger and better.
Okay, and what about things in terms of branding and marketing their business and their products?
Well, I still believe in the old school foolproof method, which is word of mouth. If we face-to-face speak to people and let them know exactly what is it we do and what our business is, and you can easily use TV, social media. It's okay to get out there and make your business known, I guess, with marketing. But from what I've done, it's just basically word of mouth, people I know. And I don't really focus on the social media aspect as I should. But all my, business pages do have like personal insights because my business is sort of personal to me. It's what I stand up for what I believe in, and I like to encourage everyone to just be greater and better. And it's better if we all get to the top, basically. If we all do better, the more money the next person makes, the more they can spend it on my business. So I want us all to get to the top.
And I think that's good. I think there should be this support system for entrepreneurs in Guyana, where you can share insights. You can say, okay, well, I ordered such from that supplier and it was terrible, so don't waste your money. Don't order from and I've noticed that in a lot of North American countries especially, there are these support systems, there are these networks that help entrepreneurs help each other to make better businesses, because they understand that hand wash hand make hand come clean, right?
Exactly. It's there's nothing new on the face of this earth. The old methods still apply. I mean, biblical methods still apply. The old sayings, all the adages still come into being. It's amazing that some of the things your parents told you, it's still relevant.
Okay.
At the end of the day, we all need to support each other and lift each other up.
Exactly.
So thank you for having me on the show.
Yes, we've come to the end of the show. I'm going to ask you to pass me your business card so I can do a little promotion for you.
Thank you.
So you've heard me speak with Kerry Woolford about youth in entrepreneurship, and like I would have said, she is the owner and sole proprietor of ILIKE-MAKEUP by Kerry, and that's EYE.
Yes.
Very creative.
Yeah,
I have her business card here. You can't
I'm
really
a Scrabble
see it.
freak, so
There's a little eye on the makeup, and
you got that. A lot of people don't get that.
Yes,
It's an eye. Yeah.
Yes, I'm very intuitive. And you can send her an email at e-makeup.
No, makeup.
Oh,
the E's for email.
Oh,
makeup.
My bad. It's makeup. Well, makeup dot by.Kerry, Kerry, @gmail.com, and her website is
No, the website is under construction at the moment.
Oh, her website. Well,
Yes,
she has a Facebook page.
693-4719. So
And that is
you
her
can call
number?
me 693-4719.
And she also has a
And
Facebook
you
page.
can go to the Facebook page, definitely. I like Makeup by Kerry, EYE.
And for those people who are business owners, I'm sure Kerry would be.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love to give people that advice.
So she's open to giving advice, and maybe even in the future, Kerry can pioneer the entrepreneurship network.
Eventually, when I'm older.
Okay, so viewers, thank you for staying with me. Thank you for being a part of our program. Local government elections is coming up on March 18th. So this is my encouragement to all of you to go out and vote. Beginning next week, we'll be starting our series on local government elections. So for the next 2 weeks, we'll be having programs educating voters about local government election, why you should vote, why voting is important, the part that you play as a registered voter in your community. Please like our Facebook page. It's Cuffy250. Send us an email, Cuffy250gy@gmail.com, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is also Cuffy250, for videos of the show. This has been African Drums, the television organ of the Cuffy250 Committee, an organization dedicated to the empowerment of the African Guyanese community through education and the encouragement of self-activity. I'm Elsie Harry. Please join me next time.
Bye, guys.